Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Imaging Wire show. My name is Jake Fishman. I'm the host of the show and the editor of the Imaging Wire, and we have a great episode for you all today. We have David GrandPre. He's a product leader at Novarad, and David's going to be joining us in talking about enterprise imaging, particularly in that mid-sized hospital and smaller space, which is a major segment of hospitals here in America and worldwide, in a major growth area for enterprise imaging, and that makes this a majorly good episode, and I'm super happy to have David with us. David, welcome.
Jake, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It's really good to have you here. Maybe before we jump into the main topic, if you can just give us a quick intro to yourself and what you do at Novarad and what Novarad does for the world of healthcare.
Yeah, be happy to. Thank you. So Dave GrandPre, I'm Senior Director here at Novarad. I have been with Novarad for just over 11 years, almost 12 years now. It's crazy to think, actually 12 years in 2 weeks. So it's gone by fast. I've been worked in implementation. I've been in development here at Novarad, and now I'm over the product and handle the direction and strategic operations over our product for all the product lines we own. And I've been at Novarad. Novarad it's for 3 decades now. Novarad has been an imaging expert. We specialize in all things medical imaging. We have in-house R&D that does some very super advanced things with imaging. All of our stuff's in-house with few exceptions, and built by Novarad, supported by Novarad. And it's been a fantastic organization to be a part of. One of the things that's kind of the misperception of Novarad in the industry is that, Novarad specializes, one area we specialize in is providing small critical access regional hospitals with imaging software that allows them to provide advanced solutions for their patients. And people feel like that's where Novarad lives, and that we're not for larger institutions. And that's just not correct. Novarad scales up to medium and large hospitals quite well, and we provide that same expertise and that same advanced imaging capability to those facilities as well. So we're led by a practicing neurointerventional radiologist, actually, Dr. Wendell Gibby, and he lends his medical expertise on a daily basis to our product and to our development, along with helping our customers understand the product and how they can use it better.
As you said, Novarad is providing imaging and PACS and everything else solutions kind of for a full array of hospitals. But when we look at specifically at enterprise imaging, which is what we're talking about today, there's kind of a different story to be told about that kind of medium and smaller size hospitals as far as enterprise imaging adoption goes. Can you help us understand what the state is of enterprise imaging in this segment of hospitals?
Sure. So enterprise imaging started, 7-ish, 8 years ago. It really kind of became a brand name, a household name in hospital care, healthcare. But it was adopted by larger facilities, people like Mayo Clinic, Northwestern University, Johns Hopkins University, the very large institutions. And initially, it was referred to as a VNA, or vendor neutral archive. And it was a place to store data, imaging data, that resided outside of your typical radiology and cardiology. In every medical institution, you have imaging silos that have existed since imaging began. So you've got your radiology and cardiology, which have advanced significantly over the years in making those images available and sharing those images across physicians and within that healthcare organization. But you have people who've been capturing images in pathology, wound care, you've got nursing, you've got even behavioral health that take images and videos, and those images and videos reside on a server somewhere in a closet. They reside on CDs in a back room, and they're kept and they're utilized when needed, but the opportunity and even the challenge to use those images is very real. So currently, people think their EMR kind of acts as that function. And an EMR, the way I kind of view an EMR typically is it's more like an offsite storage for your home. I've got a storage unit. I can throw everything I can't fit in my house in that storage unit, and I know it lives there, but I couldn't tell you where it is. And if I need to go get it, it takes me 3 hours to go dig through the pile of stuff to find what I'm looking for. Same thing with an EMR. It's a storage unit. Those images a lot of times will reside in there, especially for your smaller facilities. And when I say smaller, they're not small, but they're smaller than the 800, 900,000, 1,200 bed hospitals that make up the very small majority of the hospitals in the U.S. So those images are there, but people can't get to them, or they have one or two experts in the facility that know how to access them, and physicians have to wait until that person can go in and access it. One example, I was in a hospital, a fairly large hospital. I think it was like 450 bed hospital, and we were meeting with the wound care. And the wound care images for that facility literally lived on a server in the wound care environment, and they backed them up on CDs. And if they needed any information, the physician had to make a request. There was one person that knew how the file system worked and how to get those images. And it would take 24 hours to 36 hours to pull those images for that physician to take a look at it, just because only one person knew how to make it work. So that's kind of the state today. Adoption of enterprise imaging, because of that mindset that it's for large facilities, has been very slow. It's felt like out of reach, I think, for a lot of facilities, a lot of the smaller hospitals and medium-sized hospitals.
So what has delayed their adoption of enterprise imaging so far?
Yeah, great question. I mentioned a few minutes ago how people view enterprise imaging as two systems: a vendor-neutral archive, or VNA, and your normal imaging systems, which are PACS and cardiology typically. In addition to and that it's expensive, that those two systems make it out of reach of especially small to medium hospitals. But in addition to that, I think the smaller hospitals just are slow to see the value that the larger hospitals have embraced. And if you walk through with an expert, if you can go through and look at the silos and go through and look at what opportunities there are that enterprise imaging can provide, I think you'd be very surprised as a smaller facility how much value is there for your facility and how much it can improve your facility's profitability.
For hospitals in this midsize and below segment, why should they really be considering enterprise imaging?
Well, because there are these imaging silos, patients aren't getting the best care they could. If you can provide an entire picture of a patient's journey, medical journey to a physician, let's say you've got a patient that comes in and they discover that there's a lesion on the body, and they go in there and find out that's related to some other disease state and part of that was imaged or captured months prior, but it wasn't, because it wasn't directly related at the time, it just kind of sat there. If a physician can see an entire picture, a storyboard, if you will, of what that patient's gone through, they're going to be able to provide a better diagnosis. They're going to be able to provide the collaboration with our other physicians that they need to. They can even educate patients and get better patient engagement, because now you can show them the entire journey that they've gone through. They came in, they had imaging done for something else. They saw a lesion in the brain. They went in and biopsied that. Turns out to be, a type of cancer, or maybe it's benign. But then there's that whole related journey that comes from the healing process. And so being able to visualize that and show that to the patient, show that to a physician, have everything included outside of just radiology and cardiology is very powerful. In addition, a lot of the facilities and the U.S. market in general is moving towards value-based care. So historically, they've been reimbursed based on encounter. You come in, you get your your work done, you submit for reimbursement, and you get that reimbursement. But with value-based care, you get paid on the outcome. So the more times that patient has to come back, the less money the facility makes, the hospital makes. And not only is the patient getting better, less good, well, better care with an entire picture, but it can reduce readmissions. It can help with case management. It can help give them the facility a better experience and be more profitable.
For these hospitals who, I guess, understand that these points that you just made, but they're, for whatever combination of reasons, haven't moved to enterprise imaging yet, what options do they have to make this happen?
So that's a great question. Again, as I mentioned, typically people view enterprise imaging as two separate systems. And one of the challenges or fears is that, are they going to work with my other systems? How's the interoperability? How long is it going to take me to get this online? Is it going to be an entirely new system that people have to remember? A lot of times, there are multiple systems in the hospital, and having physicians learn multiple software solutions is never an easy thing. Physicians don't like change. They've got a lot to focus on with healthcare and medical expertise. They don't want to learn a bunch of software systems on top of that. Novarad provides a fantastic system. We've been in the PACS industry, like I said, for decades, but with the move to enterprise imaging, the need for enterprise imaging, our new product is NovaPACS EI, which has enterprise imaging built in. So a facility can have a PACS system and have cardiology as part of that, but they can also bring in all these other ologies. They can bring in the wound care, ophthalmology, they can bring in pathology, et cetera. And it's simply by flipping a switch. So the framework's put in place, the infrastructure is already there. They simply bring on the departments they want to bring on, and they can roll it out in a timeline that meets our needs. They can bring in the departments they feel really get the most value out of it. And then as they find more reasons to bring other departments, they can roll it out to those departments. And the benefit is it's the same system, the same training, the same administration. The doctors are already familiar with the system that are using images on a regular basis. The referring physicians and like the ED, those hospitalists, they can easily be trained on using just a drag and drop universal viewer that allows them to see everything in one location. And then because it enables the EMR, that data can still reside, like the history of that data resides in the EMR, but the images can be pulled directly from that universal viewer and that enterprise imaging solution. So there's not a lot of new training. It just takes a few minutes to learn how to drag and drop from the departments and lay out the storyboards.
For the folks who are maybe early on in their evaluation process, what are the types of things that they are asking about enterprise imaging and how it might help or impact them?
They really want to understand the power of the storyboard. So helping them learn how to take those different departments and lay them out in an image that tells us the good story for other physicians, or other clinicians, if they're not physicians, if they're for patients in general. How to maximize the power of the storyboard is one of them. The other one is just learning how to capture that visible light data, is what they refer to it as. Anything that's outside of cardiology and radiology, where they capture that in a format called DICOM, which is, as the industry knows, is a JPEG image with metadata. So outside of that, those are visible light images and videos and multimedia. Getting that information and that data and capturing it is something that people are asking. How do I do that easily? What are my workflows? How do I adjust them to make sure those workflows don't maximize my efficiency, but also allow for that image data to be utilized?
So for the hospitals, these same hospitals that we're probably talking about who are early on in their process, or maybe they're just now starting to have conversations about, maybe enterprise imaging should be in our plans. What type of advice do you have for these type of hospitals in terms of how they should go about their evaluation, how they should coordinate internally?
Yeah, great question. First bit of advice I'd give is don't be afraid of it. Enterprise imaging is a very powerful tool. It's new to a lot of facilities. It's kind of this scary thing. It's comparative in some perspectives to like an EMR upgrade, which can take many months and years to implement. It's not that big and scary. It'll take some time. Ingesting that data in can take a little bit of time, but the overall training and implementation process can be very smooth and it's pretty seamless because it's related to something that if with Novarad system, it's very tied in and integrated with the PACS system. The radiology department, the cardiology department, they already understand how to use that. And those experts can be utilized across the industry, across the organization, to help them adopt it. So my first advice is don't be afraid of it. The second advice is to really understand where your imaging silos reside. Go out there and look. You'll find departments that have a video camera they lock up every night, and those images reside on an SD card. When that SD card gets lost or gets corrupted, those images are lost. If you have a server in a closet for pathology that has those, what can be done with those images to get them to where they're more utilized? I went into one facility where all the cardiology studies were backed up on CDs and they sat up in bins up in a storage closet. Well, if those need to be pulled out for legal purposes or for a medical review of some form, or if something happened and those were destroyed, those would be lost forever. And so having them into a system where you have an offsite disaster recovery backup that you can utilize and having them where they're at the physician's fingertips instantly provides a lot of power. So I'd go through and evaluate your departments and find out which departments would benefit from getting those images from those silos into a repository that's usable. And in addition to that, how can it impact your value-based care that you provide as a facility? How can you use it to attract better physicians? If you've got all that imaging data available into one place, then when you're going out and you're courting those physicians that are higher physicians, you've got a better story to tell. You can provide them a more complete picture for better diagnoses, which also translates to attracting more patients because they want that better care.
Dave, this has been really cool. And I think one of the things that I've observed in healthcare is that sometimes it can feel like there's different classes of healthcare depending on different sizes of hospital, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And sometimes it might be not as hard as some might think for a smaller or mid-sized hospital to have something like enterprise imaging. And I feel like what you've walked through so far today has really helped demystify that in terms of the need and the fact that it's in reach and the fact that it can really help, and also that solutions like Novarad's can make a hospital make this achievable for a hospital of those sizes. And I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Novarad, the NovaPACS EI product, which provides, like as mentioned, the PACS plus enterprise imaging, it makes enterprise imaging puts it in the reach of a regional hospital, a critical access hospital, a small hospital, a medium hospital, or a large hospital. But if you're 500 beds or below, you should really be looking at enterprise imaging to help bring all those silos together, improve that patient care and outcome, and provide better care overall.
Great. Exactly. Here to that. Dave, thanks for coming in and sharing this and kind of demystifying the space for us. I really appreciate it. And I would say to the folks who are watching, if the environment that Dave was talking about earlier in terms of kind of these imaging silos and these antiquated forms of storage and access, if that describes what you're doing now and you're in one of these types of hospitals, give Dave and his team at Novarad a call and learn a little bit more about what they can do and how they are getting really good at bringing enterprise imaging into environments like yours. And Dave, thanks for coming in. It was great to have you.
You bet. Thank you, Jake.